Troy Ave, released
Out on bail.
on $500,000 bail.
Mm-hmm.
Heard his mom put the house up or something like that,
Okay.
as she should.
I was gonna say, as she
Yeah,
should.
I don't think Troy's gonna try to jump bail.
Nah.
That's not gonna work too well. People know who he is at this point. He's been in too many media outlets to.
But the fact that he got out on bail that's kind of big.
Well,
some people that have just sat there through shit like, man, Bobby Shmurda didn't get out.
yeah, but Bobby actually has
A whole bunch of charges.
a bunch of charges and a bunch of murder charges, and his co-conspirators are getting like 75 years, 58 years. Like someone affiliated with him ended up dead. One of the GS9 guys were actually here, and we talked about that.
When the cops raided, they didn't actually raid at first. They were locking up everybody that left. Everybody that left the studio. Bobby was the first to leave. And we got the call, like, yo, they locking up, they just locked up Bobby. So his brother just went to try to go get him. He like, yo, I'm going to get my brother at the precinct. He tries to go, he gets locked up. Now, after he gets arrested, everybody, the cops start raiding the studio now. This is when they raid the studio, after they lock up the second group.
Okay.
Rush the studio.
He's connected to a bigger situation. I guess that there's a bunch of murders that have to do with it and stuff like that. I don't think Troy's even being charged with the murder. Because I guess originally they try to say that he killed Banger, maybe accidentally or something like that. But now I guess they backed up off it. But what's actually interesting is I saw an interview with Troy Ave's lawyer, and what he's saying is that the problem they're having in his defense is that nobody's coming forward to testify. With all these internet detectives that are going around, there are no human beings that are stepping forward to say what happened. And apparently he's not naming the shooter either. So that's going to be interesting to see. I mean, because he was right there, I assume. He probably knows who it is. It's going to be interesting to see whether he's actually going to stand on.
Somebody taught him not to talk under any circumstances, and he's living by that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people have morals and codes. We said this earlier. You know what I mean? Like good, bad, or indifferent. Just the discipline that it takes to stick by your guns is something that you don't even see that much these days anymore. Like everybody's, watch the first 48. Everybody's just ready to tell. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get you in the room. Soon as the lighter come on, these motherfuckers is telling. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that's the easier thing to do. You see, it's easy to do the weak thing, and it's hard to do strong things.
Yeah, I mean, my son, he did 7 years over a crime that his friends committed. He was there. He saw what happened, and he could have gotten off.
I know one of my friends went to jail about that long for a murder he ain't do.
Right, it wasn't even a murder. It was like a cab driver got beat up or something, and robbed or something. Yeah, but yeah, he went to jail over something that his friends did. And I'm honestly like, I can't say that I fully agree with what he did, to be honest.
Who?
My son.
Okay.
And that's one of my very close friends. And I'll tell him this, in our next conversation. But over this street code, he didn't say anything. He just had a new baby. So he missed that whole development, the whole 7 years of his oldest son. He missed out on that. He missed out on helping his family financially because he was in jail. You can't, he had a record deal with Violator. He was signed to Violator. Like, he had that verse, my son, lefty, gun up in my right palm. Like people were fucking with him. Like, he was wrong with Mace. He was wrong with Shine. Like, he was battling everyone. He was a hot dude in New York. You remember that time. He went to jail missed out on all that. His rap career never got to that height. Again, he kept rapping, and, you know, I still fuck with him, and people still fuck with him, but he never got to that height.
Mm-hmm.
And the dudes who he stood up for, they never came forward and testified for him. They could have actually, at one point, he said there were some talks of them testifying and getting him off early and taking the rap for what really happened, and that never happened. So apart from being looked at in this community as a real street dude, what did that really get him, aside from all that time lost?
And that's the thing, like, see, you know, back in the days when it was like, yo, no snitching and all of that, and if, let's say you in a drug crew and you do the shit, you take the time, but see, your mans would make sure you're good.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna make sure you got money on your books.
Right.
They're gonna make sure your girl and your seed and all of that their rent is paid, and they always got food in the crib, and they ain't wanting for nothing.
Yeah, I don't think any.
You understand what I'm saying?
I don't think any of that shit happened with my son. Just quite honestly.
So that's where it stems from. Like you don't snitch because your people's gonna hold you down. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, I don't know where that part got exited, you know.
Right.
They cut the reward for not snitching,
Right.
got cut out. And now all it is saying, just don't snitch because
You shouldn't.
that's some street shit. Don't,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's
Wait,
almost,
but the police is offering rewards.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The police is offering all kinds of rewards. They got money for you. So they'll give you a whole nother life if you tell what the fucking really they want you to know.
right. I
So
mean,
it's how could you combat that?
well, I mean, I think it's almost become a threat where it's like, well, if you snitch, we're gonna kill you,
Yeah. But you know what?
or we're gonna kill your family.
I mean, that happens and like, that ain't even like how it used to be. Like, niggas used to really get killed for snitching. I know a bunch of snitches walking around the fucking streets right now, ain't nobody touching them.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Where back in the days, these niggas, they would have got out and then you would have never heard of these niggas before. Again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you could talk all that shit, you don't fuck with snitching, and maybe you don't. You know, maybe they're lonely guys, but they still walking around. And I'm telling you, they're not even that lonely. These niggas got friends.
Right.
Okay? These motherfuckers got friends, and they probably know that these motherfuckers snitched. Like, you know what I mean? We living in a different time.
Well, I interviewed AZ Faisan.
I got shot in the head twice, man, and 5 people was in that situation with me. You know, 3 people died, and 3 people lived. I knew exactly who one cat was.
Okay.
I knew, you know, the cat, Kevin Clark, I knew it was him.
The boy, your sister's boyfriend.
Yeah, I knew it was him.
He went and testified against those guys, and those guys went to prison.
Right.
And he, you know, some people don't agree with him, but he stood behind it. He said, well, I never snitched on Rich Porter. I never snitched on Alpo.
Those are the people he was working with.
Those people I was working with, but
I wasn't working with these
yeah,
dudes.
these guys came in, you know, and he helped them dudes. Like the main guy who was robbing them, he gave him a car and gave him some work and stuff like that. But it wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. So he felt that there was no problem testifying against these dudes. But, you know, you look at the comments like, oh, AZ's a snitch. Hey, he should have never done that, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, there's certain people I talked to where it was like, you know, like their take was, well, do we know that, like, AZ didn't you know, put hits on other people during that time? And, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're that heavily in the drug game, you're not just happy-go-lucky and, you know, oh, you robbed me for $50,000. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We just won't do business again. Mm-hmm. You can't sue anybody. You can't press charges. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you talk about cocaine, that's a game that's knee-deep with murder. That's just how it goes. So my friend's take, level. And I think it was actually my son. My son was telling me about this. Yeah, my son's take was like, well, you could say that, but he was probably involved in so much shit himself that he shouldn't have been telling on people who was doing that to him. But that's what I'm saying. It's a
slippery slope.
It's a slippery
man.
slope.
Listen, I don't have to worry about shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I decided to not fuck with crime and get into this music shit, because you ain't got to worry about all that type of shit, snitching and all this dumb shit. And, man, fuck all that.
Yeah, man. Honestly, that crime shit is for the birds. I'm sorry that
it's for the birds, but we're you see, you're in a system that funnels you there. Like, you have water and it's flowing. Now, if I narrow the channel that it's forced to go through that channel.
Yeah.
So what the fuck are you supposed to do until you redirect the flow?
Yeah.
But we're dealing with a system that intentionally puts the flow to where a high number of, or high percentage of, inner city youth, whatever you want to call them, are forced to do some sort of illegal thing. Even if it's just hopping the fucking train to get to work if you want to.
Yeah, or to school.
To school. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Well, they give free Metro cards to kids.
Oh, is that what they do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it only works on the weekdays or whatever at a certain time.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, crime is for the birds. Crime is some bullshit, but it's like a lot of times you're forced into these situations. So what the fuck are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, if you have no other means to make some money and feed your family and survive and all this type of shit, where a lot of people start like that, but then somewhere it goes to a greed level, because at some point you might get all of that you needed, that initial shit, but now you want more and more and more, and now, you know what I mean? And then to get more, you got to do more shit, you know what I mean? And so it becomes a vicious cycle.
Well, I think what a lot of people don't realize, and it took me a long time for me to realize this, when you look at the people who are really wealthy, the Bill Gates of the world, the Warren Buffetts of the world, you start to realize that these people have actually gotten there by doing good business. Because bad business will haunt you. You don't agree? Okay.
Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and all these motherfuckers do things that directly affect the lives of millions of people, actually. These people got mad blood on their hands. It's just that
Warren Buffett and Bill Gates have blood on their hands?
absolutely.
How
Trust me.
How? How does Microsoft kill people?
Because it's the connection. Okay. I said a direct connection. Maybe it's an indirect connection.
Okay,
I'm
explain
sorry.
the indirect connection.
Listen, we'd have to go through so many different levels of. Let me come back with some research on that, and I'll show you exactly how.
Because in fact, Bill Gates is going to go down as possibly the greatest philanthropist of all time.
Okay, let's say
The amount of money he's donated and the amount of work, like his full-time job is giving away money right now.
Right.
He left Microsoft, and Microsoft has essentially gone through the tubes after he left. Microsoft's stock has been flat for like the last 15 years.
Right.
It's got no real leadership.
real quick, but listen. Okay, because I just thought about this. Okay, let's just say a microchip inside a computer, right? Comes from a rural area in the Amazon, some fucking where, okay?
Can't really make microchips in a jungle, but
Listen, man, I'm giving you a fucking example of some shit. It doesn't have to be
okay. some foreign country.
some foreign country. Let's say not even let's just say okay, paper.
Okay.
We go and we deforest the whole fucking forest.
Okay.
In the name of doing good business.
Okay.
Yet that deforestation directly led to people losing their natural homes that they was living maybe in the forest at that time. Now you uprooted these motherfuckers. You fucked up the ecosystem. Fucking animals are dying. Now fucking the people that used to hunt these animals, they have less food. They have to go now find another means of fucking supporting themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Everything connects. Like, all of this money shit of the biggest business motherfuckers, they're not clean. Like, trust me, something they did helped kill people. Even if it was, okay, how about this? Even if they took some of their money, supported a certain political
Party.
which then in turn went and bombed some motherfuckers.
Okay.
You're responsible for that. Your money helped that.
Right, but technically both parties have
Yes,
that shit.
yes.
So no matter who you support,
Correct.
you support anybody, technically you're
Correct.
indirect.
That's why I don't support none of these motherfuckers. But I bet you Bill Gates and Warren Buffett do. I bet you they got so much inside ties to the government. You see, when you get money like that, trust me, you on the inside of a whole lot of shit.
Oh yeah.
So you might be in on some of the decision making of, listen, we thinking about bombing these motherfuckers. Yay or nay, Bill? Yay. All right, thank you. That's all we needed from you.
I still got that donation coming next week.
Don't I, right? Yeah,
Right.
Of course you do. Thank you. Good day, sir. Bang. You know what I mean? Like, come on, don't act like that shit, that like those guys, and I know Warren Buffett's your fucking hero, but trust me, he got blood on his fucking, on his stock report.
I mean, Bill Gates was responsible for actually wiping out a disease.
Come on, man. That's the shit they're gonna pump up to you. That's the shit they want you to see. Show me the shit they don't want you to see, and I'll show you a whole lot of blood and guts. Okay? You're not gonna find it all on the internet either right now. You'll find all of the good shit that they did.
Malaria. I believe Bill
He
Gates
ain't wipe out no malaria, trust me. He might be trying to do something. Malaria is like probably bigger than AIDS in Africa. So I know he ain't fucking wipe out no goddamn malaria. He might have an initiative that he's trying to get rid of malaria. Am I right?
Well, it's kind of a longer article.
Trust me. And if he did, why is that not the number one story
They've committed
on every news thing?
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has committed $2 billion
To trying to fight.
combat malaria.
Thank you. So ain't nobody cure shit. That's just an initiative.
They've also committed $1.6 billion to fight Global Fund to fight AIDS.
Good. Good for him. Now, but at the end of the day, do we really know where that money is going, how it's really being spent? Right now, they're telling us that's what it's for. But are you there to see the spend? See, I don't take shit on face value, Vlad.
Glass is half empty for Jamar. all the
No,
time.
not always. I have optimism with certain things. I'm not always going to be pessimistic, but I'm not going to assume, and I'm not going to take things on face value just because this motherfucker tells me that. Like, there's something in war, there's a thing called disinformation, Vlad.
Right.
Like, and that's a war tactic. And in order to get certain things, make certain shit happen, you gotta dead-face lie a motherfucker. Look them right in their face and lie. That's a strategy. That's some Sun Tzu shit, art of war. Like, so don't think that they're not gonna do this. And so now they say, yeah, they taking $2 billion to try to fight malaria, and really 100,000 will go to that, and then the 1.5 billion, will go towards, the destruction of,
I don't know,
original people on this planet.
I looked into their foundation. I mean, it's an interesting foundation, even to the point where the way it's set up is 20 years after both their deaths, the foundation is required to spend all of its money and then cease to exist because they don't want to create an organization.
Spend all of its money on what?
On whatever it's been spending on while they were alive. And then at that point cease to exist because they don't want to create an organization that helps certain people get rich off of under the guise of what they're doing. It's essentially, here's the money, we're gonna spend it all, we die, spend the rest, that's it. The whole thing goes away. It's not going to be a thing that just keeps going and
Like
keeps
Will
going.
Rogers and all that type of
Yeah,
shit. Charity,
that type of thing.
motherfuckers. Ben was dead. They kept that shit
Right,
going.
exactly. But what do you think about the whole situation?
Man, my point of view, man, I really feel like they tried to paint a bad picture on my brother and try to make him look like he was a hater. It was some envy, jealousy type shit, you know what I'm saying? And actuality, you know what I'm saying? Bro been having this shit, man. He been in the condo.
I got my hat on and I had my Coke bottles up under my hat. And I'm sitting at the dinner table like an asshole with the hat on, knowing she gonna tell me to take it off. And I'm just sitting there just gulping down, you know, in my zone. She said, take that goddamn hat off at the dinner table. I'm like, come on, mom. Coke everywhere.